If you asked last week what Tyler Muller was thankful for on his Thanksgiving, he would have said, I am thankful for victory last time out in your Misfit Touring Series. It's round 4. We jump to Southern National Motorsports Park. We jump under the lights and we bring ourselves in for some great action. I'm Jake Sperry. DJ Clark is along here with me today. Ryan Bauer is on the cameras here today to make things go very nicely and smoothly as he also produces and brings things forward. This is going to be fantastic, DJ. We are in for a treat. This is Short Track Supreme. It is only 0.64. It's one of the most brilliant out there in terms of what you get for short track. And to top it all off, this is the circuit above circuits if you want to make something happen.
Yeah, it certainly is, Jake. We are talking about a standard run-of-the-mill style homegrown short track here in Southern National. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. 17 degrees banking through the corners and about 7 degrees banking down the straights around this 0.4 of a mile bull ring. It's going to be very, very fast around here, but you're going to have to be doing a lot of braking coming down these straightaways, trying to get those cars to turn and to rotate around the corners. It's pretty much exactly what you want out of a short track.
There is a look then here through Google Earth at Lucama, North Carolina, and how amazing that is. This is the schedule that we've got. We run all the way through to March, and these, of course, are the quiet months that they have to deal with. If you can find some form through December, if you can jump on forward into January and find yourself that run towards the final 3 rounds at the mile, at Bristol Motor Speedway, at Martinsville, this is where you've got to try and earn it. 3 different winners out of 3 here. DJ Southern National might very easily be 4 from 4.
Yeah, it very well easily may be that, but let's go ahead and take a look at the cars we're going to be running around here tonight. It's the same thing we've seen the last couple of weeks. The late model stock cars around here, 500 brake horsepower from a naturally aspirated V8 engine and an old school 4 on the floor style gearbox. It's going to be very, very fun to watch these cars get up to speed and to get themselves going. But let's also remember, these are heavy machines, 3,100 pounds. That's about 1,400 kilograms. It is not easy to get these things to rotate, and one of the biggest problems that we've seen on the track is when you try to get these things slowed down, it can be difficult.
This is very simple. It's a 10-lap heat race for those drivers who didn't manage to qualify it perfectly. Last chance for 15 laps to get yourself into this 100-lap feature. 26 cars will make it. There are 27 on my count, if not 26, so it's going to be very close on that mark. But stories of the race, you've got to keep it clean. Green flag racing was the key to last time out. It will be the same here when it's all banked up as it is here. You've got to survive. You've got to avoid those big wrecks, which will absolutely decimate the field. And you have to be patient. This is a track where you can let the race come to you. Drivers will use their tires up early. You'll have the opportunity to come back later on in the race through a green flag run. You always have that ability to make it happen here at Southern National Motorsports Park. DJ, we are just about ready to jump over to grid side racing. Your front row is Deegan Smith. He's 3rd in the championship and he'll have some work to do. Jeremiah Rychecki will be alongside then on that front row. Row 2 housing Kenneth Stalkson and Timmy Spatz, with Colton Morgan going from 5th and Travis Wilhite in 6th position. The final rows will be Kyle Adams and Ryan Smith will be declared as a DNQ for that. And as they get themselves ready, not really very long 10 laps to get your feet in under the door.
No, not at all. Indeed, that pace car bringing the field around here, such a short lap. We actually have 2 pace car laps to be able to get everything up to speed. And I think in addition to all of those stories that we talked about here, you've got to be able to take the advantages when they come to you. You see a driver get off rhythm, you see them miss that apex, you've got to be willing to dive down in.
You absolutely do, and that is going to be the point of contention that you're going to see. Deegan Smith comes in tonight, 3rd in the championship, 251 points, just 18 points behind Jake Sylvia. Pace car dives in. Let's put 10 together. Green flag in the air. We're underway. Big, nice move from Deegan Smith. Gets it covered side by side for 3 and 4. As they go through into 3 and 4.
Yeah, and that's going to be Stalkson and Spatz right now. Spatz losing a little bit of momentum up on the high side. A little bit of contact there from behind. That looked like Travis Wilhite and Ryan Smith getting into the side of one another. More back, and there goes Wilhite. Spun around, but he's going to catch it and keep going.
very good save there from Travis Wilhite. Got a little bit lucky. They bounced around a little bit like a pinball. Very easily happens around here, and so you have to have a little bit of fortune. Works out. Smith there, your leader. Looks still there, though, the third and fourth. And remember, those top three will feel very, very comfortable with the way that it goes forward. So you've got Storkson there in third. Timmy Spatz looking, and just behind that as well, Carl Adams really trying to make some movement, make some progress, and he's finding out what makes it difficult. Not really much straight. Takes a few laps to really get that momentum going.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to be able to build that rhythm, and momentum is the way to build it around here. We ride on board with Kyle Adams right now, one of our series organizers, currently in 6th place. Out of those top 2 transfer positions, he's going to be hoping to gain a little bit of ground here on Colton Morgan.
He's trying to find everything. He is driving it deep into these corners, sliding it about a bit. They're using all the road because those 17 degrees of banking, they are so very crucial. And as we are hoping to see later on in the night that maybe a higher groove might work, for the moment here with 4 to go, everybody very content dropping on the low side.
Yeah, that seems to be the preferred groove around here. Timmy Spatz in particular taking a very narrow line. We're seeing a couple of drivers try to diamond off the corners, including Storkson here in the number 57, and he's going to have a little bit of a run down to the inside. The wheel spin's going to scupper him.
Yep, so he's going to need a little bit more help as he tries to get some great momentum off the exits. Put a couple popsicle sticks up in the air. We've got 2 to go here, and it's all about focus now. Looking then from the outside in is Timmy Spatz as we're coming to the white. This is all now going to be about hoping that there's going to be some form of desperation, but you feel like there's not going to be much there. It's very much been a case of Deegan Smith in control. Jeremiah Rychecki has had to look behind in the mirrors all night then for this opening race, but Deegan Smith, in no doubt at all, takes Heat 1.
Yeah, and really controlled the momentum of that race since the drop of the green flag. Deegan able to get a good jump there, and he never looked back. That's going to be a big boon to him. And remember, automatically advancing on into the finale here tonight. And that's going to be a big load off his back.
So confirmation of result there, the difference 7/10 of a second. Smith over Rychecki. Storkson will end up third with Spatz in 4th. Morgan there finding Adams 5th and 6th. Wilhite 7th, and then no start for Smith down there in 8th position. Just keeping an eye out on everything that's going on. We move on forward then to heat number 2. Just the 7 that's there. Matthew Moniak will be on the front with Austin Demore alongside the company Kendall Becker and Jared Schell. They will house row number 2. Kyle Smith will go then from 5th position. Corey Vaughan is starting in 6th, and Ryan Walling is hoping that he does not find any wall here today, all the way back in 7th position. But the focus now is very, very clear in Heat 2. You saw what happened in Heat 1. If you're at the front, go out there and replicate it. If you're in the middle, do something different.
Yeah, and I think what we saw here is that you've got to be a little bit aggressive moving onto that lower lane. We just didn't see the momentum start to build up on the high side, so you've got to use those fenders a little bit. Maybe a bump and run. Maybe just trying to elbow your way down to that lower groove, as it looks like that's the way to play here tonight.
It's the important way to play, and Matthew Moniak looking to get a little bit more form compared to what he had last time out. So he's hoping that that number 3 is going to give that ability to rush. Green flag in the air, and we are underway and racing. Put 10 on the board, and immediately there's a dump in the back that goes through tiptoe around. Jared Schell finds himself the wrong side of Lady Luck.
Yeah, but fortunately here for Schell, he's going to be able to get that car put back the right way and not lose and not bring out a yellow flag here at this point. We ride on board with Kyle Smith, a little bit ways back from Kendall Becker, who's looking to try to close in on those front positions.
Yeah, and those front 2 are looking very, very punchy off of the start of this one. Austin Demore in the number 3 has Matthew Moniak 16 in focus as well. So those drivers, just to make it very, very confusing out there, is the number 3 is the 16 and number 7 is the 3. There is Kyle Smith. He's looking to try and make that progress here as he really tries to ratchet up on the wrong side at the moment. But he is still holding everything that he wants. He stays very close to the back and keeps an eye very much planted on that number plate.
Yeah, and same is true here for Austin Demore in that number 3 machine that you see behind him, that is build here is the number 7. Just trying to put some pressure here to the back of your leader, Matthew Moniak. Going to get a big run off of turn 4. Going to try to drive that into turn 1, but it's not going to play out. He's going to have to try to figure out another way by.
and is playing out behind as well for the last spot, that top three, because Kyle Smith is trying to run the high line to make it work. Look at that. There is number 97 with a big slide of power to boot. Gonna jump that one up into third position. The concentration etched all over his face.
Yeah, you can see just how much he's having to focus in here at this point, making that high line work. And interesting, he is running that sort of middle groove here at this point. We haven't seen anybody else doing that over the course of the race.
No, everyone's been very content to run down to the bottom. I think the 7 notices it. There is Kendall Becker having a little look at everything, and this is going to be a case of where can you find a little bit more. Just not there at the moment, but now you start looking around. The leaders here with a couple to go and coming towards the white. It is now on the outside, the push from Austin D'Amour, who does take it at the stripe by 300s, pushing again on that high line, and all of a sudden it's starting to wane on the bottom. Matthew Moniak doesn't have enough. Austin D'Amour finds the way, and he gets it done in Heat 2.
That was impressive stuff from there. D'Amour, tenacity around the outside, hoping that that line was going to come in, and it certainly did there, Jake. Good running there for him. He's going to be the one who not only advances on, but he's got a good understanding of just how this track is starting to rubber in.
Consolidation time then as Heat 2 results come in. It's D'Amour who picks it up over Moniak. Smith ends up third ahead of Becker. Vaughan, Shell and Walling end up 5th, 6th and 7th, and those a little bit further back then outside of those three have to then go through to the consolidation. Now here's an interesting point. It's only 6 who are going to find themselves through, so they're going to be 3 drivers here on the wrong side here, DJ, of Lady Luck.
Yeah, and right now it looks like Ryan Smith not gridding at the moment. Not sure if he is going to be. He has indeed shown up as manually disconnected from the service, so it's going to be 2 drivers that find their wrong way here tonight.
Yeah, Timmy Spatz then will have control of the field with Kendall Becker alongside the company. It's then Colton Morgan and Corey Vaughan on row 2. Kyle Adams is going to have to play defense in 5th position with Jared Shell on the transfer line, with Travis Wilhite and Ryan Walling trying to basically break down the wall and get themselves in. With no Ryan Smith, that will be 1 immediately out. So 8 to the party, 6 will get to stay as they now put themselves ready. And with an extra 5 laps, it's now about concentrate. You've got an extra 5 laps, you can almost take a little bit more time and have a bit more composure as these drivers sit and get ready.
Yeah, exactly, and I think what you're going to see there is a lot of what we saw from D'Amour last time out, that patience, just slowly but surely working that outside lane until you build momentum. Watch for drivers to try that out here in the LCQ.
Pace car will dive down in. Green flag goes very early here at Southern National, and that has been catching out a lot of drivers down on the bottom, and that then puts one Mr. Timmy Spatz in a little bit of a situation. One up in the wall up top. Looks like that's going to be Jared Shell for the 2nd time here today, but still Becker searches on the outside in the 20. Still not quite enough running that high line.
Not quite enough, and that's actually opening up an opportunity here for Colton Morgan in that purple and black number 39 to have a look to the inside of the number 20. But looks like here Becker's gathered that momentum back up underneath him, now tries to chop down across the nose of the 39.
Chop's not going to work because that's not what for dinner, but he's going to get that secured. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Highline searching back there. Colton Morgan's getting a really nice run here on the straights, really trying to use as much as possible, almost taking a little tap there to the back and blinking about a little bit. It's not going to help things either. Kyle Adams there in 4th position, sits nicely. Transfer on at the moment. Wilhite and Walling are scrapping for the final spot.
Yeah, they're trying to sort themselves out there as they're side by side up in front. A little bit of a blink there up in front as well from that purple and black machine. That's not what you want to see. Scraping a little bit of paint off the side of the car there as they go. As we look out the back there of Kyle Adams, who's sitting in the popcorn position, and we've got a yellow.
No surprises there because the back 3 have all taken each other out. Jared Shell has pulled that one off into the pits, then has had to take a tow, so that's really going to scupper his chances of making it. But this is where it all comes into. Bang! There's the 5 of Ryan Walling into the side, down into the wall. Shell's got nowhere to go as there's a little bit of scrapping for Wilhite, and then Wilhite and Walling turn each other around as they go through. It's a 2-part. It happens in stages.
Yeah, and that's often what you're going to see here is that kind of domino effect taking place. Just a little bit of a bank, a little bit of a bong there going in between the two, and that's going to reset everything. As we were able to take a look at that replay, just unfortunate running there for those drivers, and they're both going to be down into pit lane here. R. Walling and Shell, that could be their race done and dusted.
8 laps to go then in terms of the racing that they've got, and it's going to be at the front in control Timmy Spatz, who has that. Kendall Becker in second, Colton Morgan third, Kyle Adams fourth. Now if those drivers think that it's just about qualifying in, there is a lot more to that, because of course wherever you finish in this consolidation, it's your grid stall.
Yeah, and that's going to come into play for two things here, Jake. Number one, you obviously want to be farther up in the field. That's less drivers that you got to pass. But if we see another domino effect, if we see another big incident like we saw there in the back, you're going to have more cars in front of you and therefore more danger in front of you for an incident like that to take place. So you really don't want to be starting towards the back of this field.
You absolutely don't. This is the sort of place where if you're at the back, you're going to have to make some moves. If you are at the front, you're going to have to make sure that nobody makes a move on you. It's as simple as that. Green next time by as the lights are off on top of the iRacing sedan safety car, which means that we are going to go back to some green running. Spatz once again at the front. Green flag in the air, gets a much better launch this time. Still too wide. Third and fourth. It's down to the bottom. Colton Morgan covers off Kyle Adams perfectly. 1 to 4 as you want it on for the transfer.
And it looks like here the 24 of Kyle Adams still trying to run that sort of medium line that we saw him run earlier on in the heat races. As there's a big move down south there, going high to low is Colton Morgan, really trying to get that to play.
The good news is that Walling's 3 laps down, so all these drivers now are looking around at position, and position is going to be paramount here. Colton Morgan, who's currently third, looks down there behind and sees that the likes of Kyle Adams is there. A bit of side-by-side as Corey Vaughan finds himself pretty much there. 3 wide, beating and bumping here with 2 to go.
No, that's got a real potential to fire off. The 5 and the 4 just getting into the side of one another there. They're thankfully going to be able to keep it clean as they come around to the white.
Vaughan will be back in 6th position in the transfer, but is absolutely safe. White flag here in the consolidation. Who's going to book their places? There's going to be a runaway then from the front, because Timmy Spatz is going to be fantastic in terms of this one. Books his place with authority, takes consolidation.
Yeah, great run there from Timmy Spatz, being able to show the ability to get off the line well. And frankly, that battle that we saw going further back between Morgan and Becker, that just helped him get himself into position as we take a look at the final finishing order.
Yeah, it is Spatz who, of course, takes it ahead of Morgan. Becker would fade to 3rd position with Adams 4th, Will Height in 5th position, and Vaughan making the transfer. Walling would be 3 laps down. Shell 5 laps down, seeing no point to continue on after taking the tow. And a non-start from Smith means those 3 at the back will miss in overall. What we do now have, though, is everybody sat and situated. We have the opportunity to say it is showtime, because it is now all about this race. 100 laps to put it all together and say who's got what. It is the front row of the grid that's going to be absolutely crystal and clear as they set themselves up, because you've got Chris Story and James Polsky who are there on the front of this grid with a top 7 that seems to have inverted off of the front. You then have Dylan Calabro and the likes of Sean Urich there on row 3. Of course, you had Tyler Muller there who was in row 2. Josh, well, you got the likes of Jake Sylvia and John Gifford, 7th and 8th positions. Back there, Bradley Stefan and Matt Urban, and that makes up your top 10.
Michael Wiseman's going to be rolling off in P11, followed by Keegan Bush as we roll our way back through the field here. Then you can see in 13th, it will be Deacon Smith and Austin DeMore. In row 8. Row 9 is Jeremiah Rychecki and Matthew Moniak as we bring our way back around here. Kenneth Storkson, Kyle Smith make up row 9. Row 10 will be Timmy Spatz and Colton Morgan advancing on from those heat races. And I'll finish it out here. Kendall Becker, Kyle Adams, Travis Wilhite, and Corey Vaughan make up your 24-car field.
Pace car dives in, immediate green flag, and 100 gets itself underway. Let's get to party action, and it's a very nice start off of the front as everybody now looks to jostle for a line in the position. One in the wall up top, that's not going to be helpful for the blue and yellow machine that's there, but it's a nice launch off then from Chris Story, who's got it all nicely there. Tyler Muller, who won last time out, is looking to go back to back. He finds himself second at the moment, covers the line off nice.
Yeah, and that's 2 positions gained off the drop of the green flag for Tyler Muller, so that's going to be a very, very good boon for him. But Pileski trying to be able to fight back here at this moment. The number 93 aggressive down to the inside. That's Muller up into the wall.
Yeah, Muller up in the wall. There was a spinner. Colton Morgan ends up the wrong side of it, has to take its own. 46 now. Starts to think of a look. That's John Gifford, who is searching on the outside line, starting to make some progress here with Deegan Smith, who remember comes into tonight third in the championship. Oh, there's the spin. 93. Caution comes out.
Oh, and just at the end of it there, I think that was Bradley Stefane that got caught out by the checkup coming back through the field. Stefane's going to drop down through the order. Thankfully there, the number 93 able to catch it and hold it together, and they're going to maintain third position, but the same cannot be said for Bradley Stefane.
Absolutely not. Stefane will not be the most pleased at how that all went to play. This is James Polsky, takes the tap down low. Not much you can do, just about voice the commitment code. And then as it checks up, round goes Bradley Stefane in the 89, who will feel like if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
Yeah, we've called his names so many times here over the course of the past 3 weeks, and nearly every time it has been for bad reasons for Stefane. He has been very quick. His qualifying hasn't been electric necessarily, but his race pace has been very good, and he just can't seem to get things the right way here.
No, and I think that is rather telling at this moment in time that he's having a little bit of struggles out there in the early start of the season, but this is something where, with just how frequent the nature of the Misfit Touring Series is, that you do have sometimes a couple races will come around and give you the opportunity to turn that around. Stefane will dive into the pits then and will be the only driver, or one of the only drivers, to take that call to dive in. So we'll move to the back of the group, we'll have to move on forward, but you'd argue maybe getting a couple sets of fresher tyres, that might be a boon.
Yeah, it certainly may be the boon there, although I do believe you're not allowed to change tires in the series, so that may be it. I think this may be just a chance for Stefane to maybe let the virtual pit crews hammer away a little bit on the car and see if there was any damage that was picked up to try to fix that.
Yep, so that's going to be crucial there, being able to just hold things together and making sure that there is everything all nicely in shape. If something's out of line, hopefully that steering will fall back to a straighter angle that will be a lot more beneficial there. Lights off, which will mean we'll get back then over to racing action. Lap 10 when we resume here from Southern National Motorsports Park. There goes the pace car in. We are back to green.
And it's a good jump there for Chris Story. Muller again trying to work that high line here, but they've got a chance to go 3 wide. Pileski trying to make the move down to the inside as well. That's not going to work out. Story takes over control of the race once again.
Yeah, Muller finds himself on the wrong side of it, then up on the high side, so falls back and at risk of finding the freight train because Sean Urich there is trying to find a way in. He can't do so. You look each and every which way as you go around. There is Jake Sylvia, championship leader. It's sunny side up on the right-hand side, and he's hoping that he finds himself something very nice then as he moves on forward, and anything as sweet as possible would be a nice move.
Yeah, it certainly would be, and that's Sean Urich there that he is battling with at this point. I've got to say, Urich took a very, very aggressive line down into turn 1 about 2 laps ago, actually made contact with the side of Sylvia, but now Sylvia's on the back foot here as Dylan Calabro is going to try to make a move to him.
Yep, so every which way you look, there is a move left, there's a move right. So Calabro now jumps forward. Urich now starting to look the wrong way. Story looks behind, then at the front, and that is as picture perfect of up and under as you can have it. James Polsky looks down low, trying to take this away on 15, and he'll manage it just for the moment. We'll have to confirm it through 3 and 4, and we'll manage.
He'll be able to hold it here, but Story's also going to watch out for Tyler Muller, who took that opportunity to make a run down to the inside here. Tries to pinch him a little bit, does Story, but a little bit of a wiggle there from Muller's going to prevent him from getting the run I think he would have liked to, as there's some contact with the wall coming off at 2.
different lap, same story. Tyler Muller moving down low, looking to absolutely confirm second position and just about manages it, almost has the clearance, has to stay low. 88 is waiting. Jake Sylvia got himself everything he wanted, and now he's looking to try and make one more as he now jumps down low, tries to sneak away through and get what he wants out of it. And once more, he will go door to door. They are matching panel for panel.
They certainly are. Dylan Calabro back in that popcorn position, just holding on and waiting to see what's going to happen in front of him. But this is the problem here at this point for Chris Story. If you're up on the high side and you don't have a way to slot in, caution out.
Just like that, there's going to be troubles. Kenneth Storkson is the driver in trouble in the number 57, so will be on the wrong side of it, and that'll be a shame for him. Here's a look at how it went wrong, coming out then in towards 1 and 2, or trying to get everything he can possibly get out of it. So he gets the run off the exit, out of 3 and 4. Now he'll head to 1 and 2, and this is where he just drives it in, catches a bit of apron, straightens up, nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that was a combination of exactly what you talked about, Jake. A little bit too much speed rolled through corner apex, catches that apron. That's going to unsettle the car a little bit. And then obviously contact with that car on his outside, just kind of a perfect storm of problems there. Let's take a ride on board Colton Morgan, who had a front row seat to all of this.
Well, he has front row seat to this, and then the 97 as well just goes on its own. So able to get away with that is the 97, and then of course there is the spin that doesn't help Storkson out and drops them back. So that then pretty much puts a nice stop to that early stage. 1/5 of the race puts it through. We've had some nice little green flag runs, so it's been there. Corey Vaughan has been certainly doing a very good job of proceedings over the course of what we've had right now. He's going to be with us right now. Corey, how's it running for you?
Gentlemen, how's it going?
It's going good. How's it going for you, mate?
Just trying to take my time and letting all the carnage happen, and we'll see where we're at after that. So it's a 100-lap race, so no use trying to bang it in there and try to get up there really fast. We're back here, so this is where we're at.
Absolutely. You're trying to buy your ticket to the end, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Well, we hope that your ticket ends up being a magical big point haul there. Corey Vaughan, they're joining us as we will go green next time by and mark 1/4 distance as we get things sorted. It will be lap 25 that we will be back on with it, and it's all control of James Polsky, who's looked really good off the start. There's the green flag, and we are back underway, and we are back to racing.
Oh, and immediately down to the inside goes Jake Sylvia coming in through turns 1 and 2. He's going to put pressure on Tyler Muller, but Muller just gets great momentum, and we've got a stack up farther back in the field.
That's a big stack up at that. Kyle Adams is caught up in it. Corey Vaughan, I think, just about scampered through it. No, he hasn't. He got caught up on the high side, so his ticket ends up being no good at the station. Here's Kyle Adams. Oh, he just got run over.
Yeah, just a checkup coming through the corner. Nobody necessarily wanted to give any sort of leeway coming in. Let's take another look at it here at this point. But this is really and truly a runabout. And you got to buy him dinner after a hit like this. This was a little bit too close and too personal for comfort.
Look at that, straight in the rear, not much more that you can do, and that pretty much puts 4 in a bit of trouble. Vaughan, I think, did very well to get out of that, but Kyle Adams will not be very happy about that in terms of the way that that incident goes. Here's a look from Vaughan's perspective then, as he was charging about, trying to get a good restart, down at the back, didn't want to risk anything, but all of a sudden, it checks up. Not much more you can do there.
Oh, that's a big hit there at that point. A lot of cars going to have damage. Moniak and Stefan both down into pit lane. But it looks like here at this point, we're going to talk to John Gifford, who's unfortunately not looking like he's having the best running. John, down 8. Is the car okay, or are you just kind of taking things easy?
No, car's fine. I kind of blinked out for a minute there, and then it said I had an unsafe pit exit and sent me to the tail, so but it is what it is.
Well, as you try to work your way back up through the field, is it aggression to try to go, or is it just caution to try to let everything play out in front of you?
I'm just gonna ride for a while, let everybody else take themselves out of the mix.
All right, well, we've got about 70 laps for that to happen. We'll give you back to the track. John, thanks for chatting with us.
Yep, no problem.
Opportunities opportunities then are going to be needed here on what is an important run forward. Now it is about focus, and they have found themselves now in a quick caution stage. Now what we have known is that if it's going to be quick over and over again, they aren't afraid here in the Misfit Series to move to a single file restart, so you call this one on the final warning. Kyle Smith got the end of line penalty there, so he had to drop back. It's a long hold as the pace car's in, and James Polsky sets us off again.
Yeah, another good jump here from Polsky, and again, Muller's going to find himself under pressure here from Jake Sylvia. Sylvia's just got the run down to the inside, and they're going to be almost banging doors coming down into 3 and 4.
Yeah, so chances are plenty then. Sylvia up to second. Muller, who's going to be one of his main contenders for the title, then falls behind in third. Fifth and sixth, it starts getting interesting as well behind. Look at Muller try and push for an angle, and he'll just about manage to find one.
Yeah, that was sheer tenacity that made that work for Muller. He does not want to give this second place up whatsoever. Going to be able to slot in front here of Jake Sylvia. But watch out for Sean Urich. That's that black and yellow machine down to the inside. Can't make it run, but he did put Sylvia offline ever so slightly.
And all of a sudden, Dylan Calabro now starts to push to the inside of Sean Urich. Can he find the angle? Power off the exits there. Spinner in the back. It's not going to be ideal. And right back there, that's not ideal. We'll stay green for the moment, but that is how quick it can go from 0 to 0.
Yeah, that looked like Austin Demore there, who took a toe back down to the pit lane. We do have manual cautions here in this series, so that is what dictates that. We now ride on board with your pole sitter, Chris Story, down 6 positions in the number 67. He's trying to be able to gain back up. That's going to be Smith there, Deacon Smith right in front of him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's pretty tired of seeing victory fuel and reading that on the back, so he'll need to start making some progress. PD and Q, and there goes the 87 then, turning out, or if that's 97 even there of Smith, who finds himself turned around, so he finds himself on the wrong side of it again. Kyle Smith having a torrid night here at Southern National.
Yeah, and he's not having the best of run, but I'll tell you who are having some good runs here. This is Deacon Smith, who's right behind Urich and Calabro, both of them up 1 positions as they run. Deacon Smith, your big mover in the race, tied with Kendall Becker. He's up 7. So watch out for speed in this number 15. This is the kind of moment here, Jake, where you've got to have patience. Don't take this 3 wide. Let them fight in front of you and maybe get down to the inside of the 90 of Urich.
And this is what we're saying when you get your feet under the door. If the qualifying doesn't go well, you get an extra 10 laps, you're in the groove, you're up there quicker than everyone else. Deacon Smith blinking about a little bit here, but here comes the look once more, down to Sean Urich, and alas, poor Urich, he knew him well, and he knew that that place was his.
Yeah, certainly did. Urich just had nothing to do there about that, and I think the blink actually may have helped that move, as Urich wanted to get out of the throttle to avoid any contention of running into the side of him. Now it's going to be a little bit more single file back to Chris Story in the number 67, who's under pressure here from Michael Weisman.
Yeah, and this is where the middle of the group comes in. Matt Urban, second in the championship here today, is now in 11th place, and he's going to try and make some progress. He's -1 for the day, so this is damage limitation you feel in this early stage of the season.
Yeah, damage limitation, just try to pick up as many points as possible going in. As you saw earlier in the broadcast, this is a very long series. Sometimes you're just going to not have a race that comes to you, as it looks like Bradley Stefan coming down pit lane again.
Yeah, that's going to hurt, and that's going to put him a number of laps down, and that might even be a park it situation that you've got. Here's the focus. Lights off for Kenneth Storkson here as he races with absolute almost pitch blackness, just the lights of the screen helping his concentration.
Yeah, and some drivers like that. You minimize everything around you. You minimize distractions. You can just focus in on the racing. I like to have a little bit of light in the room. I find that my eyes actually hurt a little bit more if I try to do that, but that's just all down to driver preference.
It absolutely is. We even see some drivers sometimes go out there and get those light-saving goggles that are out there and glasses. Someone like Simone Maria Martino comes to mind in terms of that. But at this moment, it is about your top 3 at the moment. Polsky away from Muller, away from Jake Sylvia. And Sylvia here is looking for everything he can. Number 88 has been a factor in every race so far this season.
Yeah, certainly. As one driver who's not going to be a factor here, though, that's Michael Weisman, who looked like had a spin farther back down in the field, as there comes a little bit of a peak for Jake Sylvia down to the inside of Muller.
he'd hope that he doesn't have a Chevrolet, that he has a Nissan Silvia at this moment to get this overtake, because he doesn't have enough at the moment. Now he starts to try and push. We're heading to halfway in just a moment's time, and this has been a race that on the opening half you couldn't really ask for much better here out of these two drivers who are going to be factors all season long.
Yeah, they certainly are. Sylvia just continues to try to dive down the inside. I think what he's trying to do here at this point, Jake, is see if he can scare Tyler Muller off the line. If Muller sees that big lunge coming in, he may want to move off the line and try to avoid any problems. And it looks like right now that he's just not having the luck at that as Muller resolutely holds in.
Yeah, that resolution has been clear, and behind that there is a driver who is even more resolute than that, and that is Deegan Smith, focusing on Matt Urban in 10th position now, looking to try and move up into 9th. That's Keegan Bush just in front, Chris Story, who is your pole sitter, and they are making their way around the 5 lap down Michael Weissman at this point. So life may be made a little bit difficult here because they're having to really work to try and clear everyone.
Yeah, and Weissman trying to do the sporting thing of just getting out of the way. It's clear here that he sees that there's some opportunity to gain laps if anybody else goes a lap down. But now we're officially side by side as Silvius has muscled his way on by the 78 of Tyler Muller.
Absolutely beautiful, but Muller's not going to take that lying down. He's going to want to try and get back, and he's wanting to try and push forward when they know that James Polsky is 0.8 of a second clear down the road. You don't want to let him go away. It's as spread out as you love it.
Yeah, it certainly is. Cars starting to stack up on top of one another. Indeed, Polsky, your leader, only going to be about 0.9 of a second behind Corey Vaughn here at this point. So lap traffic, if we continue to stay green, is definitely going to start coming into play.
And that'll be the end of Colton Morgan, because he has just clicked the attenuator trying to keep it out of trouble. So as he was trying to get himself down into the pits, he's grabbed the attenuator, he's done. Here's a look at Corey Vaughan, who's trying to get himself back into it. We've only got 17 on the leading lap. He's the bubble right now, and he's about to burst.
Yeah, and he's praying for a yellow flag here at this point. Oh, contact right there as they go down into the corner, and that's going to stack up your leaders all on top of one another. Throw a blanket over your top 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3 are there. Muller's going to make the push then, going for the inside. He wants to now try and move up forward here, looking at lap 59, heading to lap 60. He'll want to get back through. 78 and 88 have been absolutely on it together like a car bonnet, but at this point, they can't pop the hood. It's very much a case of stasis again.
Yeah, they're just holding in here at this point. We ride on board with Keegan Bush. This is a little farther back in the field right now as he tries to make a move on Chris Story. This is the battle for P8.
Yeah, and P8's going to be important here. Look for the inside, just about gets covered off. And now every single time they're running up the circuit, it's a case of they are looking for real estate. Little bit of side to side as they rush off the exit. Story, though, gets a good run up top side. That's going to give him all the run. Round you go. Just about saves it.
And he's going to be able to hold on to it, so no caution flag thrown here at this point. But now it's going to be 3 wide coming down into turn 3, trying to hold that off the best they can as they come across the line there. That's going to be cars getting on by. That's Timmy Spatz that's able to make the move. Spatz not done. Cars turned around. That was Gifford.
Gifford with a big thanks on the radio. Not too pleased about that. Drops way back down the order behind Matthew Moniak. Now into 15th position. So it's starting to claw up above everybody here, and they know how important it is to make these places. It's been such a long green flag run that something's got to give.
Yeah, something's got to give here at this point. Elbows are starting to come out with only 36 laps to go. And look at this, Jake. Your leader, James Polsky, we thought he was nearly untouchable, but Jake Sylvia's got something to say about it with a big squiggle coming off of turn 2.
It's loose, there's no doubt about that. He's pushing it, he's driving it, he's pretty much holding on to the steering wheel, and he's in the second seat at this moment, the way he's driving right now. But every single piece of lap traffic is trying to be served as a pick for these top 3 that are driving at the moment. Keep an eye on 4th and 5th as well, because if those 3 start squabbling, they're going to bring Calabro and Deegan Smith into play.
Yeah, they're only about a second behind here at this point, so if they're able to clear traffic and get themselves up into this equation, that's going to be huge for the likes of Calabro, Smith, and Josh Flynn. But right now, that's of no mind to Jake Sylvia. He's got his sights set on the number 93 of Polsky right in front of him. He wants this lead.
He wants it, but look at the gaggle that is there in front. 5 who are all scrapping about. It's the 10th anniversary of the posse, apparently, then as they rush on forward. And I tell you what, it is a whole group that they'll have to deal with in front. Polsky doing just about enough to hold this station on Sylvia, who is pound for pound the quickest driver here tonight.
Yeah, certainly is. Sylvia up 5 spots on the day. That's a very, very impressive run for the 88. And I wonder here at this point, he's backed off just a little bit over the last couple of laps. I think he's maybe trying to save his stuff. Never mind, here he comes for a move into 1.
He was trying to give himself the room to attack. He was so low, he was almost grabbing the apron. He was so good at opening up. 1 lap ago, back down on that low side, pretty much as close as you can possibly get. Playing and toying with that inside line, trying to say, car left, car left, car left, and that's awesome here as he tries to get this sorted. Lap 73, still fighting at the A-frame.
And I love what I'm seeing here out of Polsky. He is pinching that 88 down to the inside as much as possible as they make contact coming off of turn 2. Now that is a maneuver to try to prevent exactly what you just saw. Jake Sylvia being able to get the tires working correctly and take the lead coming off of turn 4.
Absolutely magical from 7th position on the grid. He has started an absolute tirade of brilliant driving as he has found himself through. Tyler Muller's not going to sit and wait as then they hit the traffic, and they hit the traffic.
Yeah, and this is going to be huge up in front of him here at this point. Jeremiah Rychecki, Michael Weisman, they're side by side as they try to run through the corner, and that could present a real problem here to Jake Sylvia.
Well, it definitely could do, but that gap's opening 0.2 of a second on that last lap. He is using this as a getaway tool.
Yeah, he certainly is. He wants to make as big of a move as possible here. Now giving a little bit of indication. Oh, here we go.
And that will bring everything back down as everybody now looks to slow it down to a halt. Just like that, it all brings it back together, and suddenly the final quarter, if not the final fifth of this race, is now going to be all about what he can do. End of line for Kenneth Storkson, which indicates he's involved.
Yeah, we'll get a replay pulled up here in a second, but Storkson would appear to be part of the reason. Here comes your replay right now. That's Storkson on your screen. Let's see. I've got a sneaking suspicion here, Jake, that there's going to be a little bit of contact here between Storkson and the number 48 machine. Looks like they both blinked out of existence there. That's an internet connection issue. Now they're going to come down into turn 1. Let's see here. Does he maybe get into the back of him? No, he's going to hold it out here. Coming down into turn 3 and 4 at this point. Going to run it around the outside, and there's your contact.
Yeah, he just gets a small slide on there, doesn't he, DJ? And the moment that he slides, he basically takes a little bit of track away. There's not much the 48 can do in that situation except see it. Bradley Stefane has the perfect box seat of it. Oh, 57 just gets loose, and that's the only issue that you have there.
Yeah, it certainly is. Just tried to carry a little bit too much momentum coming off of that high side line there as they went. Really didn't play out for him there. And once again, you've got to feel sorry for Bradley Stefane as he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's so easy for that to happen. But there is still 20 laps to go here at Southern National Motorsports Park, and it has been absolutely incredible. This has been about who can make moves. Sylvia's charge through the field, Deegan Smith's charge, Polsky on his defense has been incredible.
Yeah, and just think about what we've seen, and compared to weeks past, it's been a lot of stop and start. Lots of green flag racing here tonight, and that's really allowed for these drivers to strut their stuff and keep things a little bit cleaner. They're able to race like they want to on a short track instead of having to try to go for move after move in short order because of the amount of cautions we've seen.
Well, if it's going to get frantic, it's going to get frantic now. 18 to go as they cross. Sylvia in control. Polsky with nowhere to turn. And now Muller looking for the inside. He has to back out.
Yeah, and the 78 there of Muller having a little bit of contest from Deegan Smith. Excuse me, that's Calabro who's going to be able to make the run on the outside. But Calabro gets up into the wall. That's going to arrest his momentum.
And just like that, Muller will now wrestle back control on the inside. Can't fully get clearance as it's natural lines just in front. Pushing down low, trying to find the pick. Here comes Deegan Smith. No clearance there.
No clearance there, and now Deegan Smith going to be down to the inside, but Calabro not giving it up here at this point. He's going to keep running on that high line to try to carry as much momentum as possible.
And just like that, there goes the move. It's comfortable there from 78. Tyler Muller gets it sorted. Calabro looks there at number 15. Deegan Smith, who's been piloting a rocket ship all night.
Yeah, he really has. Deegan Smith up 8 positions, your biggest mover of the race here at this point. Watch out for that number 15. Thought about pulling down to the low side on the 71 of Calabro, but that wasn't going to play out. He's only got 14 laps, making 13 and a half to make it work, though.
Yeah, and they're all scrabbling about now, single file. If you're going to make a move, you're going to have to make something quick. John Gifford here in 10th position. He's going to find the story, and he writes a new chapter in it as he gets by.
Yeah, good one there for Gifford. Still down 1 on the day because of that internet problem that he had and coming down into pit lane. So good recovery there for him. Meanwhile, we ride on board in 6th place, Sean Urich, exactly where he started, trying to push his way back forward.
Yeah, he's going to have to look behind, though, because Josh Flynn is now going to be trying to pilot his way through. We've not said his name all night. He's been that silent, but look at him with good points.
Yeah, he's going to be up into 5th place here, and that'll be a big feather to stick in his cap if he's able to keep that number 23 where he wants to, make that 6th place here as he runs. He's got a little bit of room to make up to Deegan Smith, but with 10 laps to go, he may be able to pull that off.
It is pretty much a case of checking out for Jake Sylvia at the front, because that is 2nd through 5th as we go on board with Deegan Smith here in that 5th place. It is very simple at this moment in time. Try and get as much as you can. Preservation has been key, and these drivers right now know they've got to leave everything they've got on the table.
Yeah, they've got to push for it. They've got to go for it here at this point. Give everything they have. 8 laps to go. They know what's on the line, and it is go time across the board.
There's Kyle Adams, and the fan is whirring there behind him because he is in the hot box trying to make a pass.
Yeah, he's trying to make a pass there on the number 78 machine, seeing if he can get that little bit of a run here. He may just have it.
Oh, he absolutely does, and then some. He powers through. That was as perfect as a block pass gets.
Yeah, it truly was. Coming down to the inside there, that's the number 57 of Kenneth Storkson, also trying to make a move. He's about a little bit farther down here at this point. But look at this train we've got up at the front of the field. This is Polsky, Muller, Calabro, Smith.
And look at them all block each other. Just like that, every train on the carriage is now trying to find that moment, but it's just not there. Everybody is searching for something that isn't there, and someone's going to have to try and produce magic out of thin air.
Yeah, they're going to have to send a big one here at this point if they want to move. I think the tires are starting to wear. Everybody holding into position here at this moment. They know what their competitors are going to do, and they know how to account for it.
They're running out of laps. They'll be down to 3 left. John Gifford is making a great late run here, and he's now trying to find a way to get past Keegan Bush for position, and there's a push as Muller now has fallen back to 5th. He's dropped 2.
Yes, he has. Deegan Smith able to get by him, and don't look now, but that's Josh Flynn coming up behind him as well, as they've got 2 laps to go.
In fact, there was some big, hefty contact there between Muller and Calabro, and they're having a bit of argy-bargy on the radio. But to the white is Jake Sylvia, who knows he's only 0.4 of a mile away from doing his 2nd best win of the season. This, though, will be the one that is as sweet, because he has driven, simply put, unstoppably here tonight. Checker flag in the air. Sylvia takes it at Southern National.
A dominant performance here from Jake Sylvia. We saw him rise 6 positions up through the field to be able to hold on to that win. Very, very impressive off of restarts, running in the field when we had long green flag runs. This is a stamp of assertion here for Jake Sylvia.
I wonder if we can get a replay just after the line, because Muller and Calabro were letting their cars do the talking as they came to the line. The difference between 3rd and 5th in points is important, but his 2nd win of the season, he will take the car back to victory lane. Jake Sylvia lights up the Hoosiers and has every reason to smile with that level of result.
Janice.
Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Southern National proved to be absolutely fantastic, but watch this. After the checkered flag, Tyler Muller not happy there with Calabro. Here today, the 71 machine of Dylan Calabro finding himself with a whole heap of trouble then after the checkered flag was done. Of course, Tyler Muller not happy with the turnaround with 3 laps to go. Jake Sylvia walks away with it, 1.7 to the good over James Polsky with his incredible run here tonight. He'll be every single bit of happy. Dylan Calabro will take that third with Deegan Smith 13th up to 4th. Tyler Muller would end up in 5th with Josh Flynn in 6th and John Gifford in 7th. Keegan Bush would end up 8th with a great drive for Matthew Moniak in 9th. Underrated Sean Urich dropping back through 10.
In 11th place, it was Chris Story, followed by Jeremiah Rychecki and Timmy Spatz, the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Then it was Kenneth Storkson, Corey Vaughn, Matt Urban, and Kyle Adams, who finished 2 laps down. Kendall Becker and Austin Demore were 18th and 19th, and Michael Weissman was 11 laps down in 20th. Then we get into the drivers that had a little bit of problems out there today. Bradley Stefane, Colton Morgan, Kyer Smith, and Travis Wilhite.
Those drivers then find themselves with minimal points haul coming out of today, but everything is all about one driver and one driver alone in terms of result. That, of course, would be your winner here of tonight, number 88, who is, of course, Jake Sylvia. We're going to get a chance then to jump in and have a little bit of a conversation with him now. Jake, that is, simply put, a masterclass of racing. You've got to be pleased with your second win of the season.
Yeah. Hickory, we came up short. Rockingham, I got the short end of the stick on that one. So I'm just glad to be able to get a chance to run a full race clean. 100 laps around a track like this with 0x is not easy. It was definitely a lot of fun racing the guys up front. Cool to have James here. He's a fast driver. We put on one heck of a show. I mean, that was easily our best race. Bunch of green flag racing. The lap cars were really, really good. They just kept out of their way, did what they were supposed to. And overall, I mean, the race up front was phenomenal. And from what I was able to see in the mirror, it was also pretty good behind me towards the end. So overall, a good show for everybody that's watching.
Absolutely. And I just want to talk and touch on that battle that you had with James Polsky, because it looked like you were giving each other just the right amount of room. Lap after lap, you were fighting for inches on the racetrack. And in the end, you ended up with just enough of a pick to get you across the line.
Yeah, I trust him a lot. There's a couple drivers in here that I don't think that I could race like that with. So it's definitely nice to be able to round it out, being able to race close and everybody be able to hold their lines and not get into people and have wrecked race cars for the lead, because that's not what anybody wants. So it was definitely nice. I mean, I got into him a couple of times. He got into me a couple of times, but that's late model racing. I mean, this is the pinnacle of short track racing around here, and it doesn't get any better than that. So, I mean, I know a lot of people would like to say that, you know, contact isn't necessary, but when you're around a bull ring like this and you got a guy like James and you're outside, sometimes you got to use that right front door a little bit. So it is what it is. I think we all had fun out there. I think that was probably the best show that a lot of people have seen on iRacing. Not many people get to run side by side that close, driving people into the apron, driving people up to the wall. I mean, that was phenomenal. Bunch of fun behind the wheel.
So let me ask you this. 1 week from now, it's 100 laps at Oxford Plains. Do you believe it to be plain sailing for you next week?
So that's my home track. I live in the Northeast, so I've got Thompson, Stafford, and Oxford on here. And I would say out of the 3 tracks that are around me, that's easily my best. I'd like to say it's going to be, you know, a normal race for me, but we do have the new build coming to iRacing on Tuesday that is supposed to change the surface lines and everything and how the track heats up. So if it was the old build and what we have now, where only the inside works, I would already call my shot on being back here in the booth, at least with the top 3 next week. But I mean, we're all going into an unknown. Nobody's got setups that works. Nobody's got any experience on this. There's a chance we could be looking like the real life Oxford 250 and throwing these things up to the top. So I'm down for whatever. I love multi-groove racing. If that's what the build brings, then even better show for the fans and even more fun behind the wheel.
Listen, your next 3 in the championship are Oxford Plains, Thompson, and Stafford. That's a triple crown through December. You've got your Christmas wish wrapped up. But to start your December, it is Victory Lane. Jake Sylvia, who gets it done for you?
Everybody at RKM. They put in a lot of hours. Everybody is, you know, perfecting these setups. It's to the point now. Obviously, we've got the new build coming, so we're going to see how that works. But it's got to the point now where we just minor changes are able to just be done and make these cars go around here just lightning quick. I mean, that was probably the best race setup I've had all season, and I was very impressed with it. So everybody there, Dylan bringing home P3 his first time in the league, running the same setups I was on. You know, it was good to see. Shout out to you guys. You guys put on the best broadcasting on the whole sim, so it's good to have you guys here. Everybody that put on the league. It's been great. I had my spotter up there with me today. Not too much for him to do. I just told him to back off a little bit because it's gonna be you know, one of those races where it's gonna be a lot in my hands. But he still helped where he could. So I appreciate everybody.
And what a magical drive that was. Jake Sylvia there joining us, picking up the dub here today from Southern National. Second overall would belong to James Polsky, who's got his hands pretty much wrangled about by DJ Clark.
I do indeed, James. A very, very good drive there for you. It looked like, especially in the beginning, you had a lot of side-by-side, a lot of battling, and then kind of moved into a defensive drive in the last half of the race.
Yeah, the car was really good in the beginning. It was kind of, to be honest, I didn't really have a setup for this. And I just kind of took the 5 flag setup, changed the gear. I didn't really get any practice. So I kind of just threw it together real quick. And I was surprised. It was really good through 1 and 2. And towards the end of the race, it got too tight through 3 and 4. And a couple lap cars kind of didn't work in my favor. But, you know, Jake ran me down and I tried to hold him off the best I could. I tried to be defensive and make him work for it, and he got me. I mean, but, you know, congrats to him, and I'm happy with second.
Well, as a driver, when you're talking about a car like that that's not necessarily as compliant as you want it to be, what kind of things can you do behind the wheel of the car to really help it around and try to keep up that speed as much as possible?
Well, at that point, like lap 70, it kind of like it wasn't working through 3 and 4 anymore. Like my right front must have been gone. I did about 5 clicks of rear brake in it. It helped a little bit, but I couldn't hold off Jake. Anybody else I could pretty much hold off. I don't know if I could have. If this race was 125 laps, I don't think so. I should have probably saved some, but I just, like I said, I didn't know what the set was going to do, and I just wanted to run it balls to the wall and see what we had. You know, it's a good base for Slinger when that comes out. So that's pretty much what this is. This is a practice race for Slinger, and I'm pretty excited for that. I think we got a good package for Slinger.
All right. Well, looking forward to Slinger. Are you also looking forward to where we go next week in the form of Oxford Plains?
You know, Oxford has been historically one of my better tracks, so maybe I'll show up, see what we can do. I like Oxford.
All right, James. Well, hopefully we'll see you there next week. In the meantime, is there anybody you'd like to thank for a good run here tonight?
I got to thank all the posse members. You know, I wouldn't be where I'm at with setup wise without those guys. You know, I got to wish all them guys good luck in the Snowball Derby. Hopefully it gets in tomorrow and, you know, go Pack, go.
All right. Congrats, James, on a great run, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, that was James Polsky, your second place finisher. And now, Jake, you have caught up with our third place driver, Dylan Calabro.
Dylan, the first thing that I think we need to talk about is what happened with 3 laps to go and over after the checkered flag, because it seemed like you and Tyler Muller had a little bit of beef to squash after this.
Well, I had a decent car at the end. I think I saved pretty good at the beginning of the race, but I was faster than him, and I think I was faster than James too, but just couldn't get around him. This place was tough to pass, and he's one pretty good driver, and he knew how to defend the inside line, but I got on his inside one time, and he drove me down to the apron, and it didn't really sit well with me, and then I got another run with him. So I stuck it. He came down on my nose and kind of got a little sideways, so and then after the race, he wasn't really happy with me, but ultimately at the end of the day, that just shows you what kind of driver he is, so we'll come back next week and beat him again.
Well, that's the attitude to certainly have when you go out there and you race. And it just goes to show here today, Dylan, that the fact you started 5th, you ended up finishing off in 3rd. Everyone is fighting for points and real estate. And real estate here today seemed to be really hard fought for.
Yeah, you know, you never really know how they, like with these types of tracks. I mean, Jake, the guy that won, he's my teammate, so I kind of wanted to just let him by since he's the points leader. It's my first race doing with this series, so I didn't want to mess anybody up. But ultimately, at the end, you just got to have go time, and you just got to fight for whatever you can get.
Listen, on your first start, you have made some waves here to get things going. Now, when it comes to Oxford Plains 1 week from today, is this a case of, well, that was just a splash in the ocean, I'm looking to create a tidal wave?
Well, I'm hoping so. I mean, like Jake said, Oxford Plains is one of my home tracks, just like he is. I live up in the Northeast, so Thompson, Stafford, and Oxford are my home tracks, and I think I can feel pretty confident. But with the update of the whole new asphalt refresh with the different lines and everything, I really don't know what to expect. So a whole different ball game than what we're used to.
It's a learning experience, but Dylan, the floor is yours. Anyone you'd like to thank there after the performance in the 71?
Oh, I like to thank Jake because he's the one that got me into this, and he helps me out a lot. RKM, they make pretty good setups, and I just drive them. And then my iRacing sponsor, PD Designs, he does all my iRacing cars, and he does a pretty good job. So I just want to shout him out.
Dylan Calabro there joining us with a very solid start to his season in 3rd position. You couldn't really ask for too much more than that. One final driver that we might get a chance to chat with is Deegan Smith in the 15. He made waves in that race, DJ. He had a rocket ship and he was stuck to it.
Yeah, I certainly did, Deegan. A great run there for you. Our biggest mover of the day and our driver of the day. How does it feel, and how was the car?
It feels good. I messed up qual since I had to make a new session. I was way too tight and the car would not turn, so I had to go through a heat. My car was also too tight in the heat, so I threw something at it for the race, hoping that it would loosen it up, and it did. But towards the end of the race, I got tight, so I had to put some rear brake in it.
Well, that's something we've heard from a couple of drivers out here today. But I want to talk about your sort of mentality coming in. When you're on the back foot from qualifying like that, does that fire you up a little bit? Do you get more aggressive, or were you relatively chill and just kind of let the race come to you?
Definitely. I felt disappointed in qualifying because I knew I could have did better. But yeah, you just had to stay patient throughout the race, stay calm, and get through everything.
Well, as we get on to the next race, that's going to be Oxford Plains. How do you feel about running there?
That's not one of my better tracks. I'm good at overturning the wheel and using up the tires. But with the new build coming, anything can happen, and the grooves are going to move more. So I'm just going to have to go into next week hoping and praying that I can turn out something good.
Well, we wish you all the luck in the world when you get there, my friend, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, Jake, that was Deegan Smith, your fourth place driver here, driver of the day and biggest mover.
He's done everything he's wanted to, but this is where we find ourselves next here. When it's 4 p.m. Eastern, the Misfits Production YouTube channel, you've got yourself Oxford Plains, and it is a completely clean slate as week 13 brings itself into view. Round 5 of the championship has got everything to scrap about with, and nobody is going to know where the form book lies on that. Make sure that you join us here at Podium Esports to get things sorted. DJ, tonight was about setting a precedent. That is what we had today with Jake Sylvia. He says, I am the title contender, championship leader, winner here at Southern National. But his main rivals, they are knocking on the door, and he knows how important it is to have a rear gunner like Dylan Calabro.
Yeah, he certainly does. And the other thing that's going to be beneficial to them is two drivers working on a setup together. Let's not forget that. If they're able to collaborate, they're able to work together. That's just less seat time you've got to spend, and you're able to better fine-tune that car. So I think that collaboration is going to be very, very helpful in weeks to come, and very dangerous for the rest of the field to have to worry about.
There are a few drivers, though, who made some great progress in that race. Deegan Smith was a huge one. James Polsky has shown that he means business up near the front, but there will also be a couple drivers up and down who will need to find improvements. Matt Urban, I think, was the biggest point of contention when it came to that. Want to give a massive thanks, then, to everyone who has helped to get this one done, of course, from Ryan and, of course, from DJ. This has been, of course, a Podium Esports production and a Misfit production. On top of that, your CEO here, of course, that's at this brilliant Podium Esports is Ryan Bauer. You've got cameras that have been absolutely wonderfully concocted, and of course, we got everything that's coming up soon. Make sure to stay with us at Podium Esports. Next week is big because we head where we've got a brilliant unknown heading over, of course, to Oxford Plains.